Anthony Riley, Sleeping Warrior, Riles, Anthony Wrongly. Listen, dude. Alright. You're arguing with me on your post, on your video. Sure. You got something to say. The problem with your stupid argument, I'm not calling you stupid, your argument is stupid. And the problem with it is direction. Here's what I'm going to say about direction. Everything has a very consistent direction when it falls to Earth. It's very specific. It's down. It's always toward Earth. We call it down because from our perspective, that's usually where it is. But if you're being facetious and want to talk about, what about for people on the other side? Sure. So everything I drop falls toward Africa, but whatever. It's always down. There's always a direction. It's always the same direction, and it's always toward Earth. There is no alignment of densities that occurs east or west, north or south, blah, blah, blah. They don't go left or right. Example, Riley. So let's say you have 3 atoms. They're touching, they're sitting side by side. One is more dense than the next. So let's just give them a density number to make it easy. 1, 2, and 3. 3 is on the absolute right. 2 is on the absolute left, and 1 is in the middle. So if there is no direction, right, and it's just density, then how are those things going to arrange themselves? Will one find itself? Let's talk about solid objects. Will one arrange itself to the left? Let's talk about liquids. Why not? It's easier to think about it that way. Fuck solid objects. Liquids. If I have 3 liquids side by side, and there's nothing holding them where they are, and they're just touching, how are they going to arrange themselves? Are they going to arrange themselves by shifting left to right? What if they're all just sitting on a solid surface, and now they're sitting left to right? If you are correct, then those things are going to align themselves left to right, correct density. But then you have to ask yourself, is left or is right going to be precedence? Is it the main biggest density going to suck the other ones over to its side and force them to a different side? Which direction are those going to rearrange themselves? See, when you start thinking left and right, then all of your bets are off. You've got no way to predict that. There is no way to predict it. But do you know what you can absolutely predict in a scenario like that, where you mix 3 fluids of different densities in a container? If you pour them into a container simultaneously with the same velocity across the container, so on the left side of the container you're pouring one in, and the middle you're pouring another, and then the other side you're pouring some, and then they mix together, they're going to have no way of knowing what direction they're supposed to arrange themselves according to their densities, unless you believe in something like gravity, because it actually explains why things always go down. That's the problem. They always go down. So as you're sitting there talking about gravity's not a force, I don't give a fuck what you call it. It doesn't matter if it's a force. It doesn't matter if gravity is suckling on your little nuggets. It doesn't matter what you call it. The fucking problem you have is everything goes in the same direction. And using that gravitational force equation, okay, we can predict exactly what's going to happen. And in the scenario that I provided, the densest of the liquids will always arrange itself on the bottom. So it'll go 3, 2, 1, starting from the bottom up. Okay? So here's your problem. Here's your problem. Direction. You have to decide how you're going to predict the direction. And then you have to be accurate enough that you're always right. And you're just not going to cut it. Your explanations don't explain how the direction is always down, how left and right doesn't work. You don't have any explanation for that. All you say is science is not observation. You're forgetting that science is an entire set of methods and procedures. And one of those methods and procedures is observation. So listen, Anthony Riley, solve the directional equation and then come to us with your bullshit. Otherwise, you're fighting against something that you can't even explain. By the way, you're fighting against something that I can explain, and I can show you how it works, and we can predict things accurately 100% of the time. Bye.